Now we're going to talk a little bit about Bernie Chapman. And believe me, I could tell some tales. And some of them might not be too cool. But anyway, this young lady over here, I know she likes to dance. You don't like to dance. I know what she's going to talk about because Bernie did. He was a real smooth guy.
He was the two-stepper.
He liked the ladies.
So we're going to talk. Go ahead. Talk about Bernie and tell us. And,
Well, Bernie was my beau. And I often went to some of the conventions.
This is after we were
yes,
married.
yes. And he was just the greatest guy, and he liked to dance, and I love to dance. And so he would make sure that at every convention we were at, he would look me up and go, "Okay, girl, we're going honky-tonkin' later on." And we would. He'd find a place, and we'd go out two-stepping. And TJ was sometimes at the convention. Sometimes I introduced some products, and we went in different directions. But he would get a buddy and be at the bar, and I would be out on the dance
Jack
floor.
Miller.
Yes, yes. And I would be out on the dance floor with Bernie, and they had to, it wasn't that we had to drag them home, they had to drag us home, because if there was a place going, and if I could empty TJ's pocket and give the band a little more money to keep going, we'd be out all night, and then we'd get up in the morning, and you know, we'd do the convention.
Or go straight from the bar back to the convention.
Yeah, a little makeup, you know, you could do that in those days. And Bernie was a great flyer too, and I love flying. My dad was in the Air Force. I've flown since I was 2. And he used to fly back and forth to his customers, and we had that in common, and we would talk about that. And whenever he had a new product, and we became pen pals, as it were, because he was a good writer. And he would send you postcards from wherever he was and send you letters. And that was even more endearing than a telephone call, because I think it says so much about a person when they will sit down and give you a little bit of themselves, and it's a keepsake. And he was a good writer and a dear friend, and it all went too quickly. And I miss him terribly, because I still remember him across the hall.
Not as much as me. I got to dance now. I have no bar time.
As we were getting a little older, I still remember him the last convention, and I was way across on the other side of the room, and he spotted me, and he goes, "There she is. She's like good whiskey. She's getting better." And he just made you feel so good. You know, it was timeless, and I will miss him so much.
you know, the great thing, I'm going to just say a few minutes about now, Jake, we never inducted him. He's in the pool. The way the Hall of Fame works, somebody nominates you in the Hall of Fame, and you stay in that pool until they vote you in. You have to be in the Hall of Fame to be voted in. But this next guy, Jake, his granddaddy, they inducted him right off because he shod, senior, he shod the Dalton boys' horse, the Dawson boys, right before the James and the Dawson boys went into Coffeyville, Kansas to rob the bank. But anyway, Jake was down here, and the story is so vivid in my mind, and I wish we'd had a film of it, where I said, "Hey, Jake, you think your granddaddy might have ratted them boys off? Because they all got shot just about it when we went into college." Oh, boy, he just blew a fuse. But Jake was a character. He shot horses right up to the last time. So I'm talking about the grandson. So the Jake Sr. I never knew, and that's sad. Jim Lindsay, there's another person. I'm going to call off some of these people, and we're going to show their picture up there. Frank McGinnis, some of the folks that I knew didn't know, John Blumbach Sr., Shorty Roberts, and all those people will show their picture, and we want to remember them, but some of them I never got a chance to meet. And there's just a list goes on.
And some not even on that
and
list.
Some is not on the
great
list.
Seamus Brady's passed away.
Yeah. And I just remember a lot of those guys with fondest remembers. And the thing about it that bothers me, that a lot of people shy away from the camera. Well, when you go back and you look through your albums and you see people you remember that moment, so on. But the beauty of a movie camera is you get to see them in action. And we sat in there during lunchtime, and we laughed, and we laughed, and we was watching Bucky, and we was watching Reggie Kessler, and we were watching the whole crew, and how we were all cutting up. And those are great moments. And I just wish we had some films of a lot of the guys that has passed on where we could actually show you the kind of person they was in real life. Because all we have is memories.
Absolutely.
And boy, it gets me emotional. I'm getting worse than Glenn Beck.
Me too.
But
There's certain
the
people
point,
that have helped me over the years, and when I think about them passing on, like Cappy, I mean, most people will never ever know who Herman Kaplan was. But I'll tell you a great little story. He was the official horseshoer for the Winter Equestrian Festival for over 25 years. When he got that job, he was tall into his 50s. The last 3 years that he shod that show, he suffered terribly from all kinds of cancer. He had lung cancer, pancreatic cancer. He had a helper that would take him to the hospital in the morning, drop him off for chemo. I would pick him up on my way to the showgrounds because I was bailing him out. He was a dear friend, and my customers were right close to the showgrounds, and we'd get to my barns at the crack of before the light ever thought about coming up and try and get my work knocked out so I could get over and cover for Cappy so he didn't have to work while he was being that sick. At the Winter Equestrian Festival, they refuse to let you have a loose dog. So they have a jail. The jail is in the blacksmith shop. So naturally, Cappy would be the keeper of the key for the jail cell for these dogs. If your dog is loose and they catch it loose on the grounds, if you want it back, it's going to cost you $250 the first time. Well, there was a young man there in his 20s, and at this time, Cappy is, we're either going in the morning for radiation or chemo. So he's a sick man. He would just sit in the truck and cry because he was in so much pain. But if a horse come up on the floor, he was out there. Anyways, this young guy's dog got locked up, and Cappy made him go pay the fine. You have to bring a slip back from the office to get the dog. And they did that. The next day, the dog is back in the hooscow. Well, this guy is like 22 years old. He comes in that blacksmith shop, and he wants this dog, and he's not paying no more money to get his dog back, and I don't blame him. I saw the dog. He wasn't worth the $250 the first time. So he is going to take this dog from Cappy, and Cappy says, no, you got to pay and bring me the thing. And this kid reaches up and grabs this old man. Well, in World War II, he was the light heavyweight champion of his unit, and he gave him a short right uppercut and knocked this kid out.
Flat on the concrete.
When the police showed up and he came to, he complained that this old man had hit him with a horseshoe in his hand. But the thing is that Cappy was a 75-year-old Jewish man from New York. You can imagine. He had that little Jewish body. He was just a horseshoer, and he was fit. And he sat there, and he used to smoke cigarettes. He'd have 100 of them lined up everywhere he worked. And he was sitting there when the cop showed up, and he says, I'm 75 years old. How could I knock him out? They arrested the kid for assaulting a senior citizen, and I ain't seen that kid on the showground since. And that's my best story about Herman Kaplan, and he was just a treat and a joy to know.
You know, there's so many farriers, great horseshoers have been down the pike that we have passed over, and I'm sure there's a lot that we don't have their name here. But the point is, here's what I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm headed across country at the end of the winter. I'm going to go in a horse and wagon. I'm going to take the time. This will probably be my last hoorah. But I'm going to be meeting a lot of good shoers after having a good time. a good time. I'm going to meet you if you're out there, and I hope I do, because it's a purpose and a reason. I don't do nothing without getting a reason or a motive. Always got a motive. But anyway, I'm hoping you enjoyed it. I hope these people, we're going to show them again. We're going to show their pictures, and we're going to have some good memories. And I wished I had a lot of those guys, like we got Reggie Kessler in that bunch when we was all having a good time.
Oh, absolutely.
So don't ever be camera shy, because remember this, when you pass on, them good times we're laughing and talking, we can show it and we can remember you just like that. We'll see you next week right here on Horseshoe'n Time. Have a great time. Happy horse. Thanks for having me.